Welcome back, y'all. It's Bianca woke up late, and I'm here today to talk about the dirty, dirty word. Yes, the dirty word called feminism. Okay? And before we begin, I just want to make it very clear to everybody that I think that men and women are equal, but I do not think that they are the same. Okay? And that's very obvious. To me, that difference lies in biology. But I believe that society should reflect that we are equal and that we should get the same choices and options. That is all. So I can give you guys a dictionary definition of feminism. I can pull up right here. Feminism, the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. Right. So a lot of people are really adamant about saying that they are not feminists, but that's often rooted like in an experience with someone else, but not a necessarily a direct experience. It's usually like a third party experience of someone else saying that they've had an encounter with a feminist, or it could be like a idea coming from an anecdote or stereotypical versions of or ideas of feminism in media, film, entertainment, etc., etc. But in real life, people do have a problem saying that they're feminist or being referred to as a feminist. But I can say you'll be hard pressed to find anyone, man or woman, that would really say, hey, I don't think that men and women are equal. And you really have to dig deeper if someone does say that, because they may not say it in the way that they actually mean it. For example, a lot of men have daughters, and they do want their daughters to have the same opportunities, equal access to education, jobs, etc. They feel like their daughters should be able to walk around and be chill and be at peace. Like, that's really what feminism overall is trying for. It's trying to bring equality to society and just living in general. And when you give a basic definition, a lot of people will say, well, that's not feminism. The feminists, they're extreme, they hate men. And I will respond and say, well, maybe you're talking about like radical feminism or something, but hate is kind of a really extreme word to use when you're talking about a group of people like fighting for their liberation. Like, it's a lot that really goes into the whole negotiation for social equality and liberation, you know what I'm saying? And people kind of fear that feminists want to take over everything, and in reality, feminism is actually the middle ground. Like, people think that feminism is matriarchy, and feminism is not matriarchy. Matriarchy is matriarchy, patriarchy is patriarchy. Feminism is the middle ground. Matriarchy is women on top, men at the bottom. Patriarchy, where we're coming from, is men on top, women at the bottom. Feminism is men and women being able to have the same opportunities and ownership in society, and have that be equal, all things considered. That's what feminism is. It's the middle ground. Like, what people end up getting stuck on is that FEM, and they see the FEM and they think female takeover. Like, that's what happens, is they get stuck on that FEM, that female, that feminine, and then they automatically think about the worst case scenario. What they're really afraid of is misandry. I know you probably never heard the term referred to misandry ever before, because you're probably more used to hearing the term misogyny. And the reason being is because misogyny has to do with a patriarchal society, meaning a disdain or like hatefulness towards women in a patriarchal society. Misandry, though, is what misogyny is to patriarchy. Misandry is to matriarchy. And again, like I said, feminism is the middle ground. So now when we talk about feminism, we're talking about prejudice based on sex, sexism, and, you know, just the implications of a patriarchal society. So, like, in order to get a better understanding, let's compare this to another system. Let's compare this to a race-based system, where society is based on prejudice of skin color, right? When you ask someone, okay, where's your proof that the system is racist? You can point to all types of legislation, incidents, like you could point to cases and you could see where race was an obvious impact in those things and where the laws were like directly based on race, right? Because there wouldn't be a civil rights movement without there being a thing. There wouldn't be a Jim Crow law if that wasn't a thing. There wouldn't be redlining if race wasn't a thing. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? There were laws directly linked to race. Slavery, for example, directly linked to race. We can point it out. But I'm asking you, like, can you point out a feminist policy that is meant specifically to negatively impact men? Like I'm asking you, I'm seriously asking you, like, find a policy that is meant to negatively, specifically attack men and treat men differently than how they've already been treated. You could say, well, now we're holding men accountable, but that's not what we mean. I mean, find a law that says we're trying to attack men. So this is what I mean by we're not in a matriarchy. People think that we're talking about a matriarchy. No, we're talking about equality. We're talking about the middle ground, right? So, like, do y'all see the issue here? Where a lot of people say that feminism is so bad, it's so this, it's so that, but without feminism, which really started like around the 1800s, at least for the United States, it's like, this is how women have been able to get an education. This is how women have been able to get a job. And this is how we have started holding men accountable for the negative things that they've done to women in the past. I'm not saying, no one is saying that all men are bad or anything of the sort. It's very simple. Women want equality and equal opportunities. It's really just that simple. And when people have pushback on that, the waters get very murky. So when people say, you know, feminism is doing bad things, and I'll say, sure, yes, feminism has implications, just like anything else in life, just like patriarchy has implications. But we'll iron those wrinkles when they come up. Just like anything in life, feminism just gave women more choices. It's really just that simple. Like, before, women just married, had children, died. That's it. Like, but women want to do more than just those three things. Like, and that's what feminism allows. You know, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about feminism. Like, I know that there's a difference between, you know, white women feminism and black women feminism, but I didn't really want to get into all of that. I just really wanted to just be super basic and broad on just the idea of feminism in and of itself. Like, that's it. It's very simple. So I don't want people to feel ashamed to say that they want equality for men and women. Like, we have to get away from that. We have to get away from the idea that, like, people can be shamed out of their own, like, actual feelings and, like, have every making of a feminist but be afraid to call themselves a feminist. It's kind of like being afraid to call yourself a Republican when you're literally a Republican, or afraid to call yourself a Democrat when you're literally a Democrat. If not in name, but in everything else. Do you know what I'm saying? But I have one more thing for you guys. I said earlier that I feel like the differences lie in biology. So I have a challenge for you guys, and I want you guys to leave your answers in the comments if you can think of anything non-biological that a man can do that a woman cannot, and it has to be non-biological. So, for example, men and women biologically, right? Men are on average stronger than women, but it's not the case that a woman can't lay bricks. Do you know what I'm saying? So I want you to come up with a thing that men can do that women simply cannot do. That's non-biological. Thank you guys for watching. It's Bianca Woke Up Late, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace.